pit stop. It's a pit stop. Pit stop. It's a pit stop. Pit stop. It's a pit stop. Pit stop.
And welcome back to your Purple Pants podcast, pit stop coverage of Amazing Race season 36, episode 4. I am joined by the amazing, the smart, the talented, the mother of the dog bacon, Miss Brooke Cam High, the winner of Amazing Race season 29. Brooke, welcome back to the podcast.
Hi, he has now run in and out of the room twice. I'm going to do a baking count of how many times he comes in, he comes out, he gets whiny. I have a feeling that's going to be the theme of the morning, right? Yay! Okay, how are you?
I am good. I'm excited. I've got maybe 1,003 reasons why I love the Amazing Race season.
I'm a convert. You've converted me. That's it. I love Angie too. That I'm on the wagon. So
yeah,
fine.
Very.
I also really like some other teams.
Oh yes.
I've done like a 180 on a few of the teams. I have decided that. Oh, and now he's out. Okay, go. Go if you're going.
Bacon is the twins this episode.
Oh, speaking of twins, shout out to Lulu who got married last night. Congratulations on your wedding. I was speaking to her sister and we were talking about weddings and I saw pictures from last night and it looked gorgeous.
Yes, we love. Come on, Amazing Race,
right?
Love.
Right? Okay, so leg 4. We have 10 teams left. I don't know them. I've never spoken to them. This is like one of the few teams that I haven't had any contact with. But Amber and Vinny have just like climbed to the top of my like ladder of love. I am so into them. I am her. She is me. He is maybe, I don't know if he's taken like crisis negotiation classes or some sort of like mediation something, but I think everyone should have to get therapy from Vinny. I think he knows how to de-escalate something like that.
Yeah.
They are so great, but I'm sure we'll get to them. But I just wanted to say that up front.
I love them too, though. No, I was going to say he was going to be on my list from the preview from last episode, but after this episode, I think that Vinny and Amber have carved out a spot in my heart. So
right, they tried to make them look bad, but no, they couldn't do it. So also, side note, my father, because you know my parents watch us on their big screen, which is hilarious to me.
Papa Cam High.
Yes. He said, why do you always talk about your mother and you never say hi to me and you never shout out your dad? So ask and you shall receive. So, hi, Dad. We will now be talking this entire episode about things my dad would have been good at in this leg of the Amazing Race. So, you're going to get real sick of it, Dad. You're never going to ask for this ever.
Well, I mean, in the spirit of talking about your dad, shout out to Dale. Hey, Queen Dale.
We brought it right back to Mom. He's going to be like, oh, okay. Anyway. Okay, so this leg.
Did I miss something in the beginning?
First of all, what the... No, you didn't. It wasn't a task. I don't know what they were doing. They did some sort of sightseeing, paragliding, whatever. Like, what if someone did want to do it? Like, this was not a task. Like, also, can we talk about how Sean was scared to walk down 7 steps, but was okay jumping off the side of a cliff and had no fear? I don't understand this. This should have been a roadblock, something. This was just a, hey, let's see the city before we start this leg of the, I don't understand.
Yeah, and I'm traveling, so I'm in Pittsburgh, and so I'm watching it off of my iPad, and I'm like rewinding it.
No,
I'm like, wait, who's in the front? Wait, what's happening? How do we get here?
There was no order. There was no rhyme or reason. It was gorgeous, but given some of the tasks they had to do this week, why not make it actually something that was a required task? Maybe we could have seen Sean freak out, which would have been a little bit fun, but the whole thing it messed with my head. I didn't understand what was happening, but
I was confused.
Whatever.
Okay, because that was one of my questions, but Brooke came prepared with her 1,000 notes and has answered it without even me having to ask it.
It was my first gripe of the night. So anyway, so now we're on to leg 4, which is another super unbalanced leg. Unless you're sunny and busy, in which case it was actually hard. We'll get to them, but honestly, like if you
little baby mama rat looking for a home.
Wrote it all down, Brice. Like the things that they said were just the most ridiculous. So if you knew how to do a Rebus puzzle, like this leg was made for Danny. You know how your legs are made for people. This leg was made for Danny, who stayed up and did puzzles with his dad. Also, shout out to Danny. During COVID, you could not find an escape room within, 80 miles of Boca Raton, Florida that Matt and I had not done because it was one of the only things open. And I think I've done every single one in New York City. I live and breathe for an escape room, love puzzles. Danny, you're welcome here anytime. We'll go do, if we find one that I haven't done, an escape room together. I love how he's such a puzzle nerd. Like, speaks to my heart. This, if you knew how to do a Rebus puzzle, this was maybe the easiest leg ever. I mean, I know, I don't want to complain, but come on, like, so, and it was like 8 little tiny puzzles. So
right.
easy.
Now, I mean, the skis minus the KSK, that did confuse me for
IS.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
I would have been like Sunny and Busy. I would have been like,
you would not. I'm sorry. I'll jump, but hold on, because ridiculous. There's no way you would have said, Mama Rat takes baby rat on a journey, foam plus, oh my God, they're written down so many times.
I'm not sure if it was Sunny or Busy.
Yeah, down a ski hill, double H hockey sticks, and then they did yoga, and that was a positive experience. No.
I was like, I'm not sure where they're getting it from. I don't know if it was Sunny or Busy. I'm like, maybe you need to take them glasses off.
They were delightfully nuts. And they did such a 180 from being just so bad at that to being so good at the roadblock that it was hilarious to watch. I'm sure it wasn't hilarious to live because they did 29 tries on that puzzle before. And the last time they did it, they were so off by 1 word. And that was like, I was like, oh no, you're not changing. But I digress.
I also feel like maybe because the puzzle was so easy, I felt like the way that they were judging some of those with dances, I felt like they could have given that to them, but I felt like maybe because again the puzzle was so easy that they had to be strict because some of them break dances wasn't breaking. It wasn't dancing. It just it was something else. It was interpretive movement.
Right? It's funny. Breakdance as interpreted by people with no rhythm, Yvonne. But I will say, I did a little counter because we actually see Yvonne and Melissa this episode, and I enjoyed it. I think they have a cute little banter. Okay, so whatever. It was super unbalanced. Rebus puzzle, blah, blah, blah. I do think that the Rebus puzzle task probably should have been like 5 miles away, up 10,000 stairs, or something, whatever, that made it harder. Because while the breakdancing wasn't particularly hard, it was going to take a certain amount of time for you to learn the steps regardless. And if you're Danny, or really Ricky and Cesar for the most part, like you were walking through that puzzle and you were done in minutes. It was too easy. Okay. Also, last gripe, like what is the point in finishing a leg in order if you're just going to start the next leg in some mishmashy whatever and then in groups? I hate the group start.
Yeah, I don't like the groups. And we asked last week about like the U-turns and all this, and somebody wrote in the comments of our last YouTube page, they said that no U-turns. No, they gave us a whole list. I was like, oh my God. But you could continue because I can't find it. But hold on a minute. I can pull
also, the best moment of the episode, absolute best moment was the last 10 seconds where Phil is double dutching.
Oh,
yeah. Shout out to Phil doing amazing. And then they hit the camera guy and Phil's like,
it will make it in. It will make it in. I was like, oh, okay. Hold on. Let me see if I can find this.
Oh, man. Okay. So anyway, they all do this paragliding for absolutely no reason, in absolutely no order to start the leg. And then you have group one, which is just Ricky and Cesar and Vinny and Amber. And it stays this way. You could literally not have watched the entire episode, watch the first 3 minutes, and then you would have known how the order was going to end because Ricky and Cesar come in first, Vinny and Amber come in second. Nothing else matters. and whatever. But
I love how Ricky and Cesar, like they want that number one spot. Like they play no games. Like Cesar be like, come on, Ricky. And I mean, I know I'm all over the place, but there was one point where it was like Vinny and Amber, and they were running, and Vinny was like, come on, Amber, I need you to hurry up. She's like, don't yell at me. And Cesar's like, let's go, Ricky. I love their competitive spirit.
I would be really interested to see Ricky and Cesar in a regular season with U-turns and that strategy, because I think that they would have to play a little bit differently, because in a season where there is nobody stopping you and there aren't other teams like conspiring because there's no way to get you out, then I would be interested to see how they would do if there was that added level of gameplay that doesn't seem to be happening this season. And thanks to whoever wrote that in the YouTube, because I thought I saw the comments, but I guess I missed one. I hate that there's no U-turns. I love the strategy part of it, but whatever.
Yeah, and I definitely feel like if there were a U-turn, and I love Ricky and Cesar, they would have to be the number one team that they would U-turn.
Yeah. I mean, second, first. That's pretty dominating.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's great.
So, okay. So group 2 leaves 15 minutes later. You have Juan and Shane.
Okay, sorry, hold on.
Yeah.
It said Robert Parker. Shout out to Robert Parker. He said this season there won't be any U-turns, express passes, or non. First of all, we know, Robert, no non-elimination legs, because that's what Phil always says. But yeah, so no U-turns and express passes. Well, I think if we were getting an express pass, it would have been on like the first episode.
Not necessarily the first, but I think we know about it by now.
Okay.
These are great things that the race did. There was a yield that the race did where you can stop another team for a little bit. There was something that was a little less successful that was called the intersection, where you had to wait for another team to show up and you did one task with another team and then you could split apart again. Interesting. But to have none of it, it just seems like a little lackluster. But
and then just to get parasailing.
7 steps was hard for him, but you'll jump off the side of a cliff. I really kind of wish he refused to do it, because I would have liked to see what the producers did.
While Sean is up there, he's like, you know what? It's actually beautiful.
I have no fear. I have no worry. Really?
Do you think
that's like being afraid of a spider and not a shark? It's ridiculous.
Is there ever an Amazing Race? Do you ever do things for fun? Like, could this have been something that they just did and normally it wouldn't have got shown, but now since they had to re-edit it, because this definitely gives me let's put this in for the 90-minute re-edit.
They will not take you on like excursions for fun, so I don't think it's something that was like done for fun, but it does feel like something that was just thrown in. Like maybe it wasn't extra, just nothing task where like to get to it. I don't know. It didn't gel. It didn't make sense. That being said, like we were in Greece and we had a bunch of time to kill before going to the airport. So like the 6 teams that were together decided to go have dinner, and I don't remember the name of the restaurant, but I went to the guy at the restaurant. He gave us free desserts because we didn't have a lot of money. We had to use leg money, and nobody wanted to spend their money. But the people at the restaurant were so nice and willing to just give us stuff, because we all probably looked so. It was like leg 8. We were like ragged and disheveled at that point. So they like the camera guys. They gave everybody like food and stuff. So we did our own little excursion, but nothing like this. So I don't know why it happened. I'm gonna try and forget about it, whatever. So Juan and Shane leave. Juan talks about his whole family living in Medellin, and so he's like, if I run into my aunt, like,
gotta go, because she gonna call my
I'd
mom
ask her for
and
help.
I'm
I'd be like,
dinner.
where do we go next? I mean, that would be really, really helpful. Derek and Shalisa talk about how they're consistently in third. They're doing a great job. Rod and Letitia don't really say anything. And hey, it's Yvonne and Michelle, who are Melissa. God, Jesus, who are getting along really, really well and being very, very cute. And then in group 3, you have Michelle and Sean, Danny and Angie, KK, who are again making their driver feel like part of the team, which is super helpful in getting him to go a bit faster. And Sunny and Busy, who decide they're going to get leg number 1 this race. And then I think it's Busy who says, we're just going to try and move up a little bit in the rankings.
Have you heard of the word foreshadowing?
Yes, I do believe I've heard that word. I do believe the Amazing Race does this. You know who could have gotten first in this leg? My dad. Shout out to my dad. Hi, Dad.
You know who got number 2 in this race?
Barb?
Shout out
Hey,
to
Barb.
Dale. Shout
Oh,
out to Dale. Can't
no.
buy. Okay.
No. Not only would she not jump off the side of the cliff, I just don't think she'd have to push her. And she's light, so you could lift her. Like the guy in the back would have to be like, "We're going," and she would spend the entire time screaming. But she'd be good at the puzzle. I don't think she'd be good at the roadblock. That would not be a Dale Cam High special, but that's okay. So they have to go to the base of this elevator and find this clue. I actually like the fact they're like, you can't walk on the elevator, you can't run escalator, you can't walk on the escalator, you can't run on the escalator, you have to stand still. Like, I like that they don't want them to just disrupt this very like
Right.
yeah.
Although they are disrupting people on the steps and in wherever they are everywhere else, but on the escalator.
And shout out to Escalator Dog. I don't know what's happening, but of course you see this dog taking the escalator, and I want to take it home because obviously now the count for how many dogs Brooke is taking home from the season currently at 4.
Okay.
Okay, so the first 2 teams get there. Amber can't keep up. They bicker a little bit, but Vinny, master negotiator, and I love them.
But here's the thing: throughout the episode, though, she's like, "You're yelling at me. You're making me nervous." And Vinny's like, "I just want you to do what I forget the words that he used, but the way that he framed it, I was like, huh?" She was like, "You're yelling at me. You're making me uncomfortable." And Vinny was like, "No, I just want you to do this. And if you can't, it's okay. But is it okay?"
I think in the cab that he said something really good. He was like, "I'm just looking for you to do this. If you can't do this, then that is all right. And the way I'm handling it is not good for you or me or us. And we need to do it better." Like, I just felt like it could have gone. If it were me and my partner, it would have gone very differently in the back of the cab. Okay. I would have been hysterical crying. He would have been yelling. We would have been screaming. It would have just been bad. This, I feel like they showed the entirety of the argument from start to finish, and it lasted 14 seconds. And so I just feel like, and the best part was she was like, "I hear where you're coming from. Go slower." Like,
okay.
They're very cute.
Yes.
Well, so anyway,
been together 9 years, so I
they're doing something right.
Right. So
yeah. So anyway, so they find the clue, and the detour is dance vibes, where you have to do 30 seconds of a breakdance routine. It was not hard, but it was harder than the very, very, very not hard other half of this detour, which was wall scribe, which is where you have to solve 8 pieces of this Rebus puzzle, which I wrote down. I don't know. The only thing I can imagine, like the second one was a world, globe, world, earth. I mean, maybe there was some other word you could have put in. And the one with the mirror, like people were saying I instead of you. Okay, there are not that many combinations that this could have been, but okay, I don't see how it could have taken more than 3 guesses for anybody to solve, but we find out shortly that I am very wrong, as it takes one team 29 guesses and then they quit.
Yeah, I would have stuck in it. I think because they were very, very close. I would have been like Ricky and Caesar and just stood there. And I just would have said every word, every noun, every adjective until I got it.
It's exactly the way, I mean, there are that many options of what it could have been. But again.
Well, I mean, no, girl, it could have been, okay? Because, child, they said baby rat. Take mama to yoga.
But in all fairness, maybe they've just never seen this kind of puzzle, because that is not how this works.
I mean, I've never seen a puzzle like that either, but I am going to like go out on a limb and say that it's probably not baby rat. Take mama.
Rat on a journey through double hockey sticks. It was fun and funny.
Yes.
And I'm actually glad they didn't go home, although my heart is broken. So what? But at this point, my heart's going to be broken because I just really like everybody. So, and if KK goes home next week, I'm boycotting the show. I don't know. So anyway, okay. So Juan and Shane do the dance. Yvonne and Melissa do the dance. Yvonne has no rhythm, but she's like, "Don't worry, nobody's going to see this." Derek and Shalisa do the dance. And Juan and Shane have a very big head start breakdancing. And then Ricky and Cesar, meanwhile, are doing the Rebus puzzle. They're like, the world is smaller than you think. The world is bigger than your evil thoughts. And that's the only one where I was like a little bit, I'm not sure what you're talking about, but that's okay. But they get it right. And then Vinny and Amber get it right a second earlier. They walk in, they get it right away. He hands her the spray paint can. She's like, oh, I get to do this. And he's like, no.
No.
And then they're on their way. So this is really just a good back and forth for first and second for the episode. Meanwhile, everybody else is trying to learn to breakdance. Rod swears he was a breakdancer in the 80s. Just give him a piece of cardboard and he is off to the races.
Also, it's Rod and Shalissa, right? Or
Letitia.
I'm gonna need Rod to start communicating and listening to Letitia, because Letitia's like, well, I'm not a good dancer. I wish we would have talked about it. Rod's like, come on, we're gonna do it. And then,
but I give her credit because she was turning every dance move into an exercise move, and you know that she exercises. She was like, okay, so then I go down and I do 4 mountain climbers, and then I do this. Like, she was turning it into something that worked for her, and they actually did a really nice job, even though it took them a few tries. He is the ultimate hype man. He was having so much fun. He is just having a great time meeting everybody. And again, I thought he was going to rub me wrong. He did not. I really enjoy him.
We love him. And then we get to see, I think they have 3 kids. We get to see a photo of their kids. We get to see Rod with his shirt off, and it looked like he has 13 chiseled abs in his body. I said, ooh.
Well, you should thank the 90-minute episode, because that was definitely filler that they put in for the 90-minute episode. Okay, so while this is all happening, Danny and Angie finally find the clue, courtesy of Vinny and Amber. They tell them where that clue is, so we have a little.
But listen, also, Angie, Mama Angie, you know I love you. You know I love you, Mama Angie. But here is reason number 3 why I love Danny. Because
you're up to like 17,000 for her and 3.
But listen, 3 for Danny, because this is the definition of seeds planted. Okay, because when Amber and Vinny were running down, they went out of their way to say it's over there. And it's like, Danny was so excited, but like, I love it. Like, I love to see this. And then miraculously, it is the puzzle that Danny know how to do. Angie said Danny and his dad be doing that at night. Angie said, no, she didn't say this, but I'm making this up. Angie said, I get me a glass of wine and I go upstairs and put the Netflix on. Okay. But when I tell you my heart started jumping when they did this, and then they kind of like jumped in the lead.
A third. They jumped real fast. I will say reason number 3 while I love Angie is Danny can't find the clue. He is at the he's like, let's go up the escalator. She's like, no, she won't go. She will not budge. The base. She's like, it's at the base of the escalator. He's like, I know, but, and she's like, she will not let him go. And I'm like, yes, correct. Don't just follow aimlessly. And she just stood her ground, and he was like, okay, Mom. Like,
now
we'll just stay here. And they ultimately end up finding it courtesy of Vinny and Amber.
But selfishly, I definitely would have loved to see Danny and Angie do a little break dance.
I don't know how that would have gone. You know who would have been very good at the break dancing? Not my dad. Hi, Dad. But he would have been very good at the puzzles. Like, we would have walked right through that. That would have been a Stan and Brooke Hamhigh special. So that would have been good. So, okay. Blah, blah, blah. Who cares? They're going to, okay, that's not important. We don't care about this. Amber loses in the car. Easiest fight ever. Love them. Don't care. Okay, so meanwhile, teams 6, 7, 8, 9 all haven't found the clue at the escalator. So this is before they start breakdancing. KK decides to dance. Danny and Angie do the puzzle. Michelle and Sean decide to dance. They did well because they turn this into like a jump rope, again, routine. This is what they do. They break it down. Sunny and Busy go to the wall, and man, oh man, do they struggle, but this is entertaining. Okay. A rat took some skis, double hockey sticks across the world. Mama rat took baby rat down a ski hill. And then they did yoga, and that was a positive experience. And the pride they look like they had on their face when they figure it out is fantastic. When one of them says, and that was a positive experience, the other one goes, yes, you've got it. And I don't know how the artist like kept a straight face. It was so bonkers. Okay, so they cut back to the dancers. Juan and Shane get it in 4th. Derek and Shalisa.
Shane was
Yeah.
definitely doing the robot though. Shane
I know
was
what-
struggling a little bit. Shane.
They were nice judges. This was not a strict judging experience. Probably because they were seeing how quickly most people were doing the puzzle, and they were like, rush them along. This is too hard. Meanwhile, Thome, who roam around the world, wanders, and those who wander are not lost. And then Busy, yes, you got it. No, you don't got it. So Derek and Shalisa get the dance. They are in 5th. Rod and Letitia get it in 6th. Michelle and Sean get it in 7th. And everyone is in traffic on their way to the roadblock. So,
You know what I'm about to say. You know what I'm about to say. Because at this point, we need to teach Ricky and Caesar need to teach a master class on Amazing Race.
Right here. Yeah.
Because what I'm trying to figure out is, first of all, if I'm in traffic, I'm stressing out. My anxiety is going through the roof. They didn't figure out, well, let's utilize this time. Let's ask the taxi driver for his cell phone and do some research of where we're going.
Yep.
At this point, I want them to win.
I mean, they deserve it. They have studied. They are, I feel like they're not the fastest. They're not the strongest, but they are the smartest. They have studied this race. Now, I know Danji. I'm going to call him Danji. Okay. Yeah. I know he's a student of the race, but this is like everything that you can do. Like, one of my biggest tips for anyone who is going to go on the race is always utilize your flight attendants, because they know where you're going. They know the city you're going to. I would always go to the flight attendants and try and get as much information as I could. They didn't have flight attendants because they were on a charter jet. I mean, I guess they did, but they were like work for the charter company. So it wasn't like they were going to get the same. Yes. Write this down. Brooke's tip, I don't know, 711 at this point.
6,030,000.
Right. Exactly. But they are utilizing their taxi drivers, borrowing phones, so on and so forth. And because if you know where you're going, see if you can figure out what you're going to be asked to do when you get there. So very, very smart.
Also, what I did love about this, although we're not getting detours or express passes, I do love the traffic, right? Like, I love how sometimes traffic can be a big equalizer, and especially when they're not driving, because I think like Juan and Shane's taxi driver, he must have been using the Waze app and not the iPhone map, because they skirted around it, or no, they might have been stuck in traffic.
No, they took a detour. They took like a 4-minute longer detour, which actually ended up being longer but they were in traffic. They got around the traffic, but good for them for trying, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So Vinny and Amber get to the roadblock a half a second before Ricky and Cesar, and the roadblock is who is feeling artsy. This is actually I actually really liked this roadblock. This felt very old school Amazing Race.
It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy, Mrs. Cam High.
No, I liked this one because
the difficulty level met your standard.
It did. Thank you. I appreciated that. Here's my thing. The people who speak Spanish on this go around the world, because they're really only going to South America, have such an advantage. And normally when you're going around the world, if you speak a different language, you have an advantage for, I don't know, a leg, 2, maybe 3. But this entire race is between North and South America. They're not going to Europe or Africa or Asia. So if you spoke, an Eastern language, like, it wasn't going to help you here. And there are people who speak fluent Spanish, so they just have a leg up the entirety of this race. Like, that's whatever. They went where they went, and they did what they did.
What is your thoughts, though, on them because of COVID, and they are predominantly in South America? Because I
hate it. I mean, I appreciate they're trying to go to new countries, but on the other COVID race, they went to Europe. They continued to. They just went to less populated cities where they could, stretch out a little bit. I would love to have seen them go to Asia, Africa. Africa is always my favorite to watch, just because it's such a beautiful continent full of countries that are so different, even like next door to each other. And several of them are not particularly populous. And so I think they could have done it. I wish they had ventured out further, but that's no fault of the cast or anything like that. So I can't really, there's nothing I can do but say, hopefully next time it'll be better.
Playing devil's advocate, I just want to know your take. That's not my take, but I want to know. Do you feel like we talked about this before? Like, I don't think that someone speaking Spanish or speaking French in a French country is an advantage. It's like, do your homework. You should be prepared better. But do you feel like it's an unfair advantage? If the majority of the time they're in South America.
I don't think it's unfair because it's not the racer's fault.
Right.
But it's a major advantage. I mean, you have Cesar going around asking people for directions in Spanish. You saw it here. You had Vinny and Amber need to get on somebody's cell phone, and this woman is taking her sweet time, and that's why they didn't end up in first place. So it's clearly an advantage.
Is there something that production could do to like equalize it, or you should be taking Rosetta Stone and knowing your Spanish and French and Dutch?
I'm on day like 1060 of French. I do not speak French. I need to work harder at it. I mean, at the beginning of COVID, I was like, I'm going to learn something and like, I don't know, better myself. I don't speak French, but I'm going to keep trying.
I did gag. Well, we can go through it, but when Vinny and Amber got it first, and then they asked for the instructions, and then Cesar and Ricky got it, and Cesar, I feel like Cesar and Ricky did kind of your approach, like what you said on Amazing Race. Like if you stop to actually use someone's phones, they have to get consent. It takes a while. But if you run it and you yell it like "Hola, donde está," and they could kind of, and when they took off running, and Vinny and Amber were just like, I was like, oh. This is amazing. But
I felt for them. And then Amber takes the time to help Danny again. Honestly, I feel, don't get mad at me. Don't get mad.
Proceed with caution.
Okay, I will tiptoe on this. The first part, Danny nailed it. He deserves all of our compliments. I don't think there was any way that they were ending up in third place without Amber helping them at the roadblock.
Baby.
Okay.
Baby. First of all, shout out to Amber. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. But this is all Danny's doing. If Danny
this
did not
80% Danny's doing.
If Danny did not plant those seeds early on, okay, that Angie even was like, we don't need to help them. Danny knew. Danny, I really do feel like Danny is as advanced as Cesar, right? Like I feel like Danny knows like he's with Angie. She's not as fast as everybody else, and that's fine. Like, but planting those little seeds really have come to fruition because when she helped him with this, baby, I know we jumping around, but I think it's what's Sean's wife's name? Michelle. When Michelle got there and couldn't figure it out, you know, she walked over to, I think it was Juan, and was like, can you help me? Rod came over and said, no.
They just ignored her. I felt so badly for, a couple of quick things. One, when Ricky did this, Amber didn't close her station. He's like, I could look. I'm not going to look. I'm going to do the right thing. I would have looked.
Wait, right. 100%. So wait, so you would have been allowed to look?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, child, Ricky.
In a heartbeat. I would have just glanced and been like, okay. Because there was no knowing if she was right. So, like, I don't know if looking would have necessarily helped. But, yeah, cover your work, girl. Come on. And then, I felt for Michelle when she was there. And she was talking to Rod and Shane, who were working together. And she's like, can we all work together? And they just pretended like she did not exist.
They didn't pretend. Rod became the human
Did he
blind.
Say no?
He jumped in front of her and was like, "No peeking." No,
I like Michelle.
So do I. We're back.
Okay, so meanwhile, Sunny and Busy are the earth is smaller than I thought, and I'm going, holy crap, they're gonna get it. No, Kishori and Karishma get the dance. Yvonne and Michelle finally get the dance. They're in ninth. Sunny and Busy. The earth, I find, makes us think, I'm like, just forget it. Like, just enough is enough.
I like the baby. I like that they should have stuck with the mama and the baby rap.
Wait, so it keeps going. So Ricky and Amber have done the roadblock. Meanwhile, the world is smaller than we thought. Oh, yes, the world is smaller than I think. And then they switch.
They were so
You know who would
close.
not have switched? Stan Cam. Hi, Dad. Mhm.
Do you know who would have switched?
You?
The twins.
Oh my God. And then they would have gone, they would have been fun to watch. It would have been, they would have breakdanced. I don't think they would have even tried the puzzle. They would have been like,
But
my head hurts.
The crazy thing about it is I think they actually would have killed the puzzle though. Like I think.
What did you see that ever would have made you think that?
I think they would have looked at it and just guessed it. Like I feel like I really
Like
do
divine
believe
intervention just sent it to them.
that they would have got that puzzle. I feel like they would have smoked it. I really believe they would have got it.
I don't know that they smoke anything. I'm not judging. Okay. So then Danny and Angie get the roadblock. They're going to the pit stop, which is Phil at this urban space on this green bridge. We had to go to an urban space in Brazil. It was so cool. Did you know that in the middle of Sao Paulo, Brazil, there is a little rainforest? It is very cool. It's like, it was a very cool pit stop, but I digress, whatever. Anyway, if I were Vinny and Amber and Ricky and Caesar just got directions in Spanish from somebody, I don't know why they're waiting for the person on the phone. I would just follow them. You're all going to the same place. Outrun them. But whatever. Amber takes the time to help Danny. At the pit stop, Ricky and Caesar win $2,500 each. Honestly, I would be okay if they didn't come in first place every leg. It's becoming a little bit of a thing. I love them. Big fan. Very nice people. Hope they do well. Would be very happy if they won. But I like when there's like a little shakeup, you know?
Right. And it's like I almost wish that they would like allow them. Like I wish they would have like called Amber and Vinny, like, come with us, and then let them get that spot. And that way they would feel like
that was
indebted
never
to
happening.
them. I mean, the Caesar would never let that happen, but I would have just loved to kind of see it. But what I do love their competition spirit. Like I do love whoever is in that spot with them. They're like, we're gunning for you. I love that though. Like, so, I mean, I'm just a hypocrite because it's like, I say I don't like it, but I do love it because it's like, I want them to continue to succeed and win. And I love the fact that they make it, for me, sometimes in Amazing Race, right? Sometimes teams get too competitive, right? And then I have an issue with it. There have been some seasons that I've been like, they're doing too much. I love that Ricky and Caesar, like they bring this competitive spirit, but I don't feel like you get the like, rah.
No, they bring it with kindness.
Right.
I think it's like, there's a joy behind it where especially Caesar is like, take a minute and we're standing up. We can't move on these escalators anyway. Take a minute, enjoy your surroundings. And Ricky's like, okay, let's go. Like,
right.
It strikes me as funny. Okay, so Sunny and Busy are now learning the dance. Derek and Shalisa are at the roadblock. Poor Shalisa can't find the map that she's supposed to be using, which is directly in front of her face. Rod and Letitia and Juan and Shane decide to work together. So Rod and Shane are doing this together, which is good for them. Danny has gotten it. Thank you, Amber. Sean and Michelle get there. Michelle asks Rod and Shane. She is knocked out hard. And Kishori and Karishma get there. And Yvonne and Michelle get there. Now, Karishma is all, this is art. I'm into it. I, throw ceramics. And then she opens it and she's like, oh, mother, I can't. I felt for her so much. But again, she doesn't give up. She stays, well, she doesn't really stay positive, but she doesn't let it knock her out. No, and then Sunny and Busy show up and Sunny and Busy leave. And so it's down to the two. And that could really have just, Kishori's on the side crying. And I felt bad for Sean because Kishori's crying. And then Karishma is like, she has this light bulb moment where she's like, holy crap, I realized I've been backwards. I've got it now. And she like gets very into it, very excited. Michelle realizes she was backwards. At this time, people have checked into the pit stop. You've got, I don't remember who's third at this point.
The thing about that, this was the detour, right?
The roadblock?
The roadblock.
Yeah.
So I felt like the earlier teams were able to quickly identify that that building was not the museum because the checker. So I was like yelling at Karishma and the other people like, y'all don't see the checkered, but
Yeah.
I also maybe can attribute that to like adrenaline, like you're letting your nerves get the best of you, but also it's maybe because 3 teams before me have said that it's the checker box that I'm sitting
Right.
at home like,
And you're
it's
watching
the
it on
checkered
TV and
box.
seeing exactly.
So, but and who was it? Was it Busy who did it, or was it Sunny?
I think it is Sunny, who was like going to be a landscape architect, and she does the smartest thing because the map has these 2 huge circles, and they are actually out there on the course. And she's like, she orients herself with the circles. She's the only person who does that, which I think is really interesting.
So do I, and I think it's like, you know, sometimes you want to jump right into it, but you got to know what you're doing. So I would have definitely. I don't know if I would have picked up on the 2 little circles, but I definitely would have done a lap to kind of like figure out where I'm at. And
100%.
Surprisingly, whenever I travel abroad or go to a new city or a new town, and I check in, I always like to just, even if I like say I get to my hotel, I'll just drive around the block and just get the lay of the land. And I don't give myself enough credit, especially when I go to like European countries and we're in like small little towns. I always just like do a walk around. I really feel like I have a photographic memory because I can't explain it, but I can like know where I'm going. Like I'm like, oh, I can just sense that like the hotel is over this way after just kind of doing the perimeter. I'm telling you, it's a gift.
You know who's really good at orienting himself in a new city?
Bacon.
Stan Campai. Hi, Dad. How you doing? So anyway, Rod and Letitia and Juan and Shane are working together to find Phil. Rod finds him first, so they're 4th. Juan and Shane are in 5th. Yvonne and Melissa end up in 6th. Yvonne gets this on her very first try, and then they're out of there. Shalisa ends up in 7th. And then Sunny and Busy show up, and good on them. And then Sunny and Busy leave. And I would have been devastated at this point. I don't know how Karishma and Michelle even kept their heads up. But you could see Michelle she was losing it. She was losing her spirit, and that really hurt because she's just so positive and happy that it just sort of hurt my heart. Anyway, Karishma gets it. They're out of there. They find Phil. They're very happy to finally be done with this leg, but I am really worried because they're now in last and starting in the back of the pack. Michelle finally gets it, and it's dark, and they don't show her getting it to us. So I don't know if she actually ended up getting it or if they were just like, okay, take your clue. But they do let them go find Phil, which I like, rather than Phil coming there and eliminating them because they were the last team left. And this leads to my ultimate favorite moment of the episode, where they whip their jump ropes out of their backpack because, of course, they have their jump ropes. And Phil double dutches until the episode is over. He did really great. I can't wait. He did really actually good. Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, Phil, here's another thing. Have you noticed this season? Why is it so hard to find Phil this season? I feel like this is the 3rd time that people have been like, I mean, clearly you have to find him, but I feel like there's been a couple of times where they're like, where, like, Phil, like, he's so hard to. Are they making that a little difficult this season, do you think?
No.
Okay.
So I'm looking here because I have a whole list of like our pit stops. The first pit stop was impossible to find Phil. He was like, because Panama is just the hardest country, I think, to navigate ever. There's like one road and it's just, you never find anything. And then at the second one, he was in this rainforest. And so I remember screaming like, Phil, like I had lost my child and it was an emergency situation that I was screaming to find Phil. And so he hid there. No, he hid a lot. We were in Venice. We ran over the wrong bridge because he was like, it's some little alcove here. He likes to hide. And I think that's kind of fun. He either likes to hide or he likes to be at the top of a mountain. So he'll either make you work for it to find him or work for it to get to him. So I like that, though. I like that it's not just super easy. I like that it's not turn around and here's Phil. So
right. But I just feel like they've been like hunting. I mean, and I know that's the point. You have to find him, but I feel like they be in the spot where, mind you just be seeing they're like racing and sliding down hills, and then it's like you just feels just like.
Sunny and Busy ran past him. He's like, "Did you not see me?
Did you not see me?"
The first thing I would have said if I was them when I got on that mat, I would have been like, "What was the answer to the puzzle?"
Are you the little rat, Phil? Are you the mama rat? I'm confused. Yes. But
Oh,
a great episode. So sad
yeah.
to see one of our favorite teams go. But honestly, it's like every team is our
I
favorite
know.
team this season. And so I'm excited to see next week what episode 5 will give. I'm excited to see, will Danny and Angie keep their 3rd place? Will they move up in the ranks?
No.
Who knows?
Oh, maybe. I
What?
don't know.
Oh.
It's possible. I don't know. It's a self-drive leg. So let's see who actually took stick shift driving lessons and who knows how to drive a car. They go to Santiago, Chile. They have to climb whatever. They have to climb like a fake rock wall. It's fine. It'll be good. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
We had to climb a real rock face. I'm just saying.
You know what, Brooke?
If you haven't seen it, you can watch me freak out. Episode 6, season 29. Mainly because I think my partner was going to drop me, and he was the only thing standing between me and certain death. So that's why I'm freaking out mostly. But it was a fun day overall. I like Italy. But it'll be good next week. I'm excited to watch it. I'm excited for a self-drive out. You know, we love that.
Oh, we love a self-drive.
I think there will be a lot of changes in placement based on that. So I'm excited.
I am most excited to see how Kashuri and Karishma do with the clutch. So
I think they're going to do great. There's something in me that makes me think that Karishma knows how to drive a stick.
She's gonna be like, come on, bro, let's go. Clap, 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 clap. Roar. So I can't
She
wait.
is a gem. Like, they're both. That team has the best little one-liners, and I think they're hilarious. And if they go home, I don't even want to think about it. I'm not going to think
We're
about
not
it.
even
Not
talking
putting it
about
out
that.
there.
We're not even talking about that. But we'll be back next week. Thank you so much for listening and supporting us.
Yes.
We'll be back. This is your Purple Pants Podcast. Pit stop coverage of Amazing Race.
Bye. It's a pit stop.
Pit stop.
Stop. Pit stop. It's a pit stop. Pit stop. It's a pit stop. Pit stop.